As Kojima
スネークが煽りで映って、そこでタイトルが出るっていうことで、あそこまでは前作をプレイしたスネークが大好きな人たちの、感情を揺さぶるそういう導入部分。
As Kojima himself explained, the idea of the scene is to constantly fool the player, to increase the confusion. The audience is anticipating who it is. They can't wait anymore. He looks like him, but they can't be sure. But when he drops his coat, or in our case, once Venom was confirmed to be a body double, you once again realize that you've been betrayed. Everything points towards Venom being Grey Fox. Yet after the Phantom Pain, there was only one obstacle to this theory, which was pretty much the equivalent of killing the character at the beginning of the movie, so he's no longer a suspect. Some people have been asking, how can Grey Fox and Venom Snake ever be the same person when they're both present in Outer Heaven? Which now leads us to the final chapter of our Grey Fox theory.
Grey Fox, Big Boss's most trusted lieutenant.
He'll act as the new Big Boss until the time comes for your resurgence.
The Phantom carries on his legend.
Big Boss can go to hell. I'll make the Phantom and his son stronger to send him there. For that, I'll keep playing my role.
When the time is right, I need to remember that you're the real boss.
He'll take your place. From here on, he's Snake. My very own Phantom, huh? Don't worry, he can handle it. Move now, quickly.
While Venom led Diamond Dogs and took vengeance on Skullface, the real Big Boss was working behind the scenes, establishing a military fortress in South Africa, which became a sanctuary for soldiers without borders, an independent nation that went by the name of Outer Heaven, the one world in which soldiers will always have a place.
The real Big Boss is working separately from us to create his new nation, the true Outer Heaven. But until it's complete, we support the other Big Boss.
After the creation of Outer Heaven was complete, years after the events of MGS5, Big Boss would then return to the United States with a plan in mind, and once again assume command of Foxhound. Frank Yeager is awarded the best title of the unit, Fox, before he and Big Boss both returned to Africa.
Welcome to my channel.
Then he and my brother went back to Africa to continue the war.
And this is where the plot thickens. In 1995, the West receives intelligence suggesting the threat of a nuclear weapon being developed deep within Outer Heaven. Unaware of Big Boss's very own involvement, the United States government orders Big Boss's own Foxhound unit to infiltrate the military fortress and destroy the threat. Following this, the real Big Boss stages an entire ruse, using his best soldier, Venom Snake, to act as the leader of Outer Heaven, Big Boss, instead of him. In the eyes of the government, Big Boss sent his most trusted lieutenant, Grey Fox, to infiltrate Outer Heaven as a member of Foxhound. However, Fox's mission soon ends in failure when Frank ends up, as far as we're told, captured and taken prisoner. It is for this reason that Big Boss would then send the rookie Solid Snake to the same fortress, believing Solid Snake would fail his mission, which is of course what Big Boss intended in the first place, knowing Solid was born of the Les Enfants Terribles project, one of Zero's own weapons against him. However, if Big Boss sent Snake there in hopes that he would fail his mission, what about Frank Yeager? Would he want to endanger his most trusted soldier as part of a ruse? The truth is, right after being rescued by Snake in Outer Heaven, Grey Fox mysteriously disappears, not to be seen or ever heard of again during the mission, only to reappear again, this time alongside Big Boss, in Zanzibar land. If the real Big Boss, the mastermind of the grand plan, sent Fox to Outer Heaven, betraying him, as the game wants you to believe, since of course Outer Heaven was part of Big Boss's plan, why would Frank go back to Big Boss? Would you rejoin someone who just betrayed you, or oppose them at all costs? Or was Fox involved in Big Boss's plan all along, staging his imprisonment in Outer Heaven?
I first met him on the battlefield. He was being held a prisoner of Outer Heaven, but he didn't look like a prisoner to me.
The fact that Fox disappeared without a trace after being rescued by Snake was already suspicious in itself, let alone returning straight back to Big Boss, who orchestrated the entire plan. In fact, Fox being in league with Big Boss the entire time was even suggested by the official summary of the Outer Heaven and Zanzibar missions as part of the previous operation in MGS1, specifically stating the best soldier in Foxhound, who after the fall of Outer Heaven disappeared, as if he followed Big Boss. This would make Fox one of the very few people who were in on the ruse, very much like Venom, who was also involved in Big Boss's plan. But how could Fox and Venom ever be one and the same then? Did Fox disappear so that he'd return as Venom, similar to how Liquid acted as an ally with his Miller disguise, only for him to be the main villain in Shadow Moses? But then what you're probably wondering, how could Fox have changed his appearance to Venom in such a short time? And that's a very good question, guys. How indeed? And the truth is, we don't really think he did. According to MGS5's ending timeline, we're told that Solid Snake kills Big Boss's Phantom. Now the term Big Boss's Phantom could be referring to Venom's role, and not the character per se. And that's because, just like Ocelot explains, Venom was to become the Phantom only until the time came for Big Boss's resurgence, which is potentially the time Big Boss reassumed command of Foxhound, and also in Zanzibar.
He's going to be your Phantom. He'll act as the new Big Boss until the time comes for your resurgence.
But here's why we honestly don't think Venom dies in Outer Heaven, from a narrative standpoint. MGS5 kept building an interesting parallel between Venom and Skullface, with the two of them suffering a very similar loss and a very similar fate.
His country, his family, his face, his identity, everything was stolen from him.
You too have known loss, and that loss torments you still.
In his younger years, a factory Skullface was located in had been bombed by aircrafts, leading the entire building to burn, along with those trapped inside. This is very much reminiscent of how Venom Snake would suffer the bombings on Outer Heaven in later years, with the entire place being engulfed in flames, which is why we saw Venom turning into Skullface after his burn in MGS5's launch trailer, being meant as symbolism of the two of them suffering the very same fate.
The building burned. I came to realize I mustn't die.
Only Skullface survived the bombings and the burning fire, and became the Skullface we all came to know, embracing his appearance as his proof of humanity, which is why having Venom simply dying in Outer Heaven would pretty much ruin the entire symbolism.
When my time came calling, I didn't die. All hell took from me was this skin, this outer peel that marked me human.
So you have Snake that because of Skullface, he's trapped from his comrades, from his mother base, from his pretty much his home. He swears revenge, and in the quest for this revenge, his human side, his meat from his face starts going away, becoming a skull in its own way. So plot-wise, it's kind of Snake himself becoming a skull because of Skullface.
Kojima describes Venom Snake as losing his human side in his quest for revenge, as we could have already partially seen with his bionic arm. But in what way could Venom have survived Outer Heaven, ending up with less of a human side? And this very much could coincide with what George Kessler says in Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. Before confronting the real Big Boss in Zanzibar, Solid Snake receives a radio call by Kessler, who warns him about a very interesting twist relating to the enemy Snake was about to face. Kessler claims that according to what he heard, Big Boss, being Venom Snake, had survived the bombings in Outer Heaven and was left crippled by the explosions, losing both hands, both feet, his right eye, and his right ear, leading Dr. Madnar to reawaken the half-dead Big Boss, becoming half man and half machine.
Dr. Madnar, he saved my life.
Dr. Madnar was a renowned cybernetics expert who had saved Raiden's life after he was turned into a cyborg by the Patriots following the Big Shell incident. Residing in Eastern Europe, Madnar saved Raiden again after his battle with Vamp in MGS4.
Dr. Madnar, I've heard of him.
A world-renowned cybernetics expert. Strictly underground, though.
We're in luck then.
But now that we know that the real Big Boss wasn't the one who was seriously wounded from the events of Outer Heaven, who could Madnar have reawakened as a cyborg, if not Venom Snake himself, who was a body double for Big Boss? This very much coincides. Good. Yeah. with MGS5 giving players the emblem Cyborg when they complete the game, as well as the emblems Ninja and also Grey, which even matches one of Quiet's uniforms, titled Grey XOF, an interesting anagram for Grey Fox.
I wanted to express my feelings to you.
On a related note, Quiet actress Stephanie Houston also named Grey Fox as her favorite Metal Gear character, stating he has such a sad story, and further describing him as a really deep character. A very curious choice for an actress playing someone whose uniform is called Grey XOF, and whose choice was a character who hasn't been further explored in 17 entire years prior to MGS5's release. Now, MGS5's ending timeline might have shown us that Big Boss's Phantom was no more, following the events of Outer Heaven. But you cannot just kill one character to explain the survival of another, just for the sake of a cool twist. Not when there's a major related plot point in that game's sequel, which people seem to be forgetting. And this is where we have a major problem. Following the destruction of Outer Heaven, we learned that mercenaries as well as resistance members who initially opposed Big Boss, including the leader of the resistance, Kyle Schneider, were all rescued from the bombings by Big Boss himself. But how could Big Boss have rescued all these people from Outer Heaven when we're told that the man who was acting as Outer Heaven's Big Boss, Venom Snake, was killed right there and then? Considering MGS5's body double twist, this would mean that the real Big Boss had to also have been in Outer Heaven himself to rescue the remaining survivors. The fall of Venom Snake bought time for the real Big Boss to fake his death and carry on with his plan in Zanzibar. However, if the real Big Boss showed his face around Outer Heaven to rescue the remaining survivors, including Kyle Schneider, it would ruin the entire purpose of faking his death, wouldn't it? So what was the appearance of the real Big Boss like during Venom Snake's command of Outer Heaven? Remember what Ocelot tells Big Boss before he leaves Cyprus?
That's your name as of today. Best change your face to. Best change your face to.
The real Big Boss was told to change his face to whoever's face was truly on that passport. In other words, Venom and Big Boss were swapping their faces and their identities, which is why Venom has Big Boss's face, and Big Boss would eventually have the face of the man Venom once was, prior to his brainwashing, with the two of them switching roles with each other to keep the ruse in check.
Boss, the whole world wants your head. Don't worry, he can handle it. Move now, quickly.
This scenario is very much reminiscent of the movie Face Off, in which to foil a terrorist plot, an FBI agent undergoes facial transplant surgery to assume the identity of a criminal mastermind, complete with face, voice, and overall appearance. However, the plan would soon backfire when the criminal wakes up from his coma prematurely. Seeking revenge, he forces the same doctor to transplant the FBI agent's face onto him, completely switching the roles of both characters, with the criminal roaming the FBI office as the FBI agent, and the real FBI agent ending up in prison as the criminal. One major difference in MGS5 is that Venom did not just become another person in terms of appearance, but he was also brainwashed into believing his false identity, which is why Venom is still experiencing confusion.
I'm going to change your appearance. We have no other choice. What you look like, however.
He believes it too. My very own Phantom.
His past no longer exists. Your past is his past now.
He didn't know who he was. Where's the truth then?
It's hidden in the lie.
Oh no.
Smurf. Fucking Smurfs. That's nice. Listen. Schnappel, wa? Jeli cici? Sigurno plavo. Sunce baš već je leto, tebe još nemam. Sigurno si negde na ljubav zrela. Lurks. What is the lurks? What is the lurks? Baby, don't hurt me no more. Dobro jutro. Juče si propuštio Sima igrao, jedno pol sata, sat sa mnom, Path of Exile.
Kako ide?
Šta znam, solidno čini mi se.
Sinoć sam ja malo igrao, nisam nešto dugo.
Igrao bi možda i ja, da nisam radio. Radim još danas i onda sam jedno 4 dana na odmoru. Tako da...
A realno, jel ideš u drugu ili?
Ne! Već bukvalno imam za... Sutra bi to da smo treća, ali ne radimo, znaš.
Da.
Isto tako me pada, čini mi se
Noć.
Noć, pa ne radimo ni to je prvi. I onda tek četvrtog, ja mislim da mi je prvi radni dan.
Da.
Tako da smo mi u koli, što se kaže, premi.
Dobro, da se malo i počine i...
Ne mora samo da se radi. Pretpostavljam da Da Beka spava.
Ha, nije tajno spavanje, ne boj se.
Ne znam, prije neki dan je došla kod mene, sjedi i kaže, jao, kako me glava boli, jao. Ja rekao, ti dam neki endol, ne mogu, popio sam nešto, ne mogu. Ja rekao, ali kaf, ne mogu, glava me boli, neko dobro, šta da moraš. Tvoj sjedio nešto, vrtio telefon, pričao malo sa mnom, naišao Simo, ja izašao, pušti ga se ispričaju, tamo vamo i ode. Totalno ono, nevezano. A juče je vjerojatno će dođe kod mene na kafu, nešto, ali sam ga zeznuo, otišao sam u 1:20 na posao. Sima mi je ostavio nekih 20.000, skoro 20.000 za ploču matičnu, ne, matičnu ploču i za M2 disk. To je isti ono, kako je to M4, taj chipset.
Da.
Samo, to je nešto ti je bilo nesuđeno.
Phantom 4 Gaming.
Tata.
Ja, dobra je ploča i BIOS je ono, da kažeš, bogat.
Samo da vidim. Da je proverim na netu. Mislim da je cena jako dobra. Pretpostavljam zato što sad izašao taj AM5, pa onda su sad kao malo jeftinije ove ploče. Malo. Grafičke kartice, pa. O. Oko 1.500 do 2 dinara su ti ploče jeftinije.
Jo.
Evo, gledao sam sad ovo. Što kaže Nenad, pred novu godinu cene dignu, pa onda ih posle spustimo. I to ti dođe nešto. Ali dobro, otprilike znaš koliko košta nešto, bar ja znam koliko košta. Koliko sam platio prije nove godine. Šta je B650? To je AM5, da, to je za nove procesore. 20.000 ploča, sunce ti je.
Za 22-3 sam ja platio ovu, kako zove, AM4. Kad sam kupovao te. Evo ga i Nenad, naspava se fino, sad je spreman za...
Da si nada što ima. To je kao što ima novo na društvenim mrežama.
Dobro večer.
Dobro večer.
Bravo.
Neko reče.
Jeste.
Gde nam je pratilac?
Pratilac na socijalnim mrežama.
Pratilac koji prati nekog da isprati na posao.
Zajebo se bio. Mir.
Čujemo da svaki dan voli da ti sprati.
Voli.
Čemu to zanimljivo? Ja zaista...
Ne znam, ja sam rekao da je to gej. A sad kako ko shvati.
Čovjek jednostavno brine, jebo.
Ilija je, može se li čuje malo XP?
Zašto?
Šta misliš zašto?
Neću te boostujem. Odbijam. Odbijam to da radim. Znači, to je ono što ja mrzim, to što ti reći. Neću to da radim. Znači, ja ti to kažem, ti se ne ljutiš. Ti igraš Helldive 10 sa ljudima koji tebe nose okolo. Nisi ti invalid da ti ne znaš da igraš, znaš. Ali tebi nije mjesto tamo. Nije ni meni.
Kako da me nose?
Nosete. Ma vaši. Poslije 30. levela svi su isti. Makić ima sav gear koji ima čovjek level 150. Sav gear. Razlika je u Warbondu. Koliko si igrao igru, koliko si otičao onih Warbondova s onim premium oružjima. I sad imaš 2 ili 3 strategijama koji su u Warbondima koji koštaju 1000 premium. Ali ja sam igrao dosta. Kupio sam možda 10 evra premium, ali sam 60 na farmu. Evo, sigurno. Pa nisu toliko skupe nove radan kartice. A, nemam pojma, evo gledam cene, sortirao sam ih.
6600 neki prodaju za 200 evra.
Ne planiram da kupujem ništa polovno. Neki prodaj, ja kao nova, da znam, bez garancije.
Novo je sa garancijom u 2 godine.
Dobro, nova, ali slaba je.
Pa to je već, starije. Da kažemo.
Ta je jedva nešto jača od tvoje.
Tako je. Tako je.
Evo, Nenade kaže Milan da Ilija prodaje 6800.
Šta ja prodajem? Ne prodajem.
Milan nas je informisao.
Milan vas je informisao. A ako se Milan informisao, mora da je tačno. Ali nije tačno. Drago mi je da vas je on informisao. Da. Imate onda dobre informacije po običaju.
Rekao je, prodaješ ovo i kupuješ nešto.
Jeste, ja prodajem kartice. Ne znam kad sam zadnju prodao neku. To on prodaje.
Ali Brke, kaže, prelaziš na Intelovu onu.
Nevezana priča, ja i Vlada pričali, Vlada. Drugari, znate što sam video? Intel ima dobre kartice, povoljne. Nisu loše za 250. Rekao, gde je Vlada $250? Da, ima u Srbiji, ima. Kao, pa može preko Mađarske se uzme. Ja gledam.
Dao mi Vlada koje kartice gleda, ja kažem, pa uzmeš maltene za iste pare, rade on ko 3 puta jaču. Rekao, šta zapira se.
On bi za što jeftinije prođe, a da uzme neki škart.
Ali kad je uvalio Nenadu kineski mikrofon, to je... Tu je pobedio. Jednostavno pobedio.
Pobjednik.
Šta mi se desilo danas?
Je li to neko Vlado klipova? Ovo je dobro.
Nije, ovo je Mario Vrećo.
Pa Vlado imate skeče. Šta mi se desilo?
Moram da vam ispričam. I onda krene priča.
Jest.
I onda ja zaspim.
Pa dobro, nije to toliko loše. Što sad zezaš čovjeka?
Što zajete čovjeka?
Evo ga! To je to. Što zezate čovjeka? Ne zeznamo ga mi. Sam sebe zezne. Memorijska magistrala 128 bita. Pa ovo i nije bog zna šta.
Spora magistrala, bat.
A ne, ja sam imao brže kartice pre 5 godina. Od toga.
Što jes?
Ne znam, imao sam 374 bita karticu. Ajoj. Jak. Sa sjevera će valovi. Tarararam.
Ej, jebeš li me sad,
Imam neki vibe da je 7600, su to neki jeftini modeli. Ne zamaram se da gledam uopšte recenzije kartice. Samo pogledam cene. To mi je dobar reper. Evo ti kartica od 256 bit. Minimalna snaga napajanja 700 vati. O, majku ti spali. Ovo je bio bait za Vlad također. Mi pošalju neku mađarsku firmu. Nepostojeću.
Joj, brate,
The fact that the real Big Boss was told to change his face to look like Venom's former self strongly implies that both Big Boss and Venom. Snake had their roles switched once again during the events of Outer Heaven, which means in terms of our theory, that the real Big Boss would have the face and identity of his most trusted lieutenant, Grey Fox, and Outer Heaven's Big Boss, who we know as Venom Snake, would have been none other than Grey Fox.
He joined forces with Big Boss and became a leader of the upheaval. That's where he fought and lost to Snake.
Yamashita, Sasabe, Kofudai, Tokiwarai, Yokenguchi. Here on, he's Snake.
This would very much explain why the Grey Fox we see in Outer Heaven, possibly being the real Big Boss, his switched identity, mysteriously disappears after being rescued by Solid Snake, since his imprisonment would have been nothing but a show to deceive Solid Snake.
He was being held a prisoner of Outer Heaven, but he didn't look like a prisoner to me.
And why Grey Fox's disappearance was deliberately emphasized as being mysterious, even in MGS1's very own game manual back in 1998.
Best change of face, too.
It's a hell of a lie. It won't be a lie. I won't know his secret either. When the time is right, I need to remember that you're the real boss.
Hurry up and get me out of here.
Slow down. Don't worry. First, I want some information about the terrorists.
The Metal Gear franchise is no stranger to these kinds of deceptions. In fact, the very first hostage we were sent to rescue in Shadow Moses was also a villain in disguise.
Why cause so much trouble? Why impersonate the chief?
And which is also very much reminiscent of how one of our allies, supporting us by codec in MGS1, ended up being the game's main villain in disguise.
His transmission signal was coming from inside the base.
Remaining close to the fortress, Big Boss's deception would also allow him to rescue the remaining survivors, including the mercenaries and resistance members who are said to have been rescued by Big Boss and Metal Gear canon, with the real Grey Fox ultimately becoming the half-dead Venom Snake, whom Dr. Magnar is said to have reawakened from Outer Heaven as half man and half machine.
It is good
So
to
show
see
me
you.
that I'm not the only
Take your
one.
time.
That you too can return to this world for revenge. Don't die.
Another for
Perfectly
my
matching
collection.
the Skullface
Thank you.
motif of Venom losing his human side in his quest for revenge, and gradually becoming the cyborg we all came to know, initially from his revival by Magnar, and subsequently with his complete transformation by Dr. Clark following Zanzibar.
I hope
You'll act as the new big boss until the time comes for your resurgence.
After the fall of Outer Heaven, Big Boss and Venom Snake would ultimately switch their roles back to their original identities in Zanzibar land, with the Phantom returning to his true self and fighting alongside Big Boss as Grey Fox, and Big Boss also returning to his former self, now as the real Big Boss.
There's only room for one boss.
You erased me 2 times before. Today, I mark the 3rd.
Loyal to the man who had given him all his power, yet had taken everything from him, Fox's story as Big Boss's Phantom would be hidden from history, an unsung hero forever loyal to the flames of war, with Fox living the rest of his days as a ghost, still
Take a
struggling for
pun
his true
bad.
identity as an undying shadow, until one last heroic sacrifice in Shadow Moses, easily becoming one of, if not, the deepest character in the entire franchise.
He died protecting you, and now by becoming you, he protects you again. It's what he wanted.
Big Boss's most trusted lieutenant, and the only member of Foxhound ever to receive the code name Fox. Grey Fox.
To this day, people keep asking us whether we still think Venom Snake is Grey
Šta
Fox.
kažeš za 100
The
evra?
genuine answer is
Tu karticu.
Evo ti link.
Nagađam da je to neki... da, kupujem, prodajem. Da, to sam teo da kažem. Ne, radije ću da platim 50.000 u Srbiji. Zadnji put kad sam uzeo N2 disk i imao sam problem s njim, znači teo sam da odem u Austriju, razumeš, da zamenim to, tako da... Ne vredi razlike od 100 evra. Toliko sam spreman da platim razliku, razumeš, samo da ne mora da idem u Mađarsku radi bilo čega. Hvala, tako slučaj.
We believe hints are there for a reason, and we honestly don't think Kojima and the team were willing to break so much of the canon with how the Phantom Pain ended, unless there's a deeper explanation that fits everything into place.
Upisi praktiku.
Nije stalno, nego izbace, meni stižu mailovi, to vidimo.
Što me podsjeti da pogledam mail, jer mi stigao za godišnji. Možda se čuje. Ma, opušteno. Ne gori mi novac u džepu. Ma ne treba za mene. U suštini brat je teo da malo sredi računa, rekao sam mu da mi da 200 evra, ja ću mu dati moju karticu, ja ću da uzmem za razliku novu.
Da, on ima koji protiv.
3.6. Ryzen 3.6.
Steel yourself!
Moguće. Kao što rekao, planirao sam da mu dam svoju karticu. Možda sam uzao tebe, sećaš se. 6.6. To je već... Evo ga moj preprodavac. Gdje si preprodavač hardvera? Agent za nekretnine.
But it might hold the runes I seek. I need more time. I can't yet. Weakling.
Pivo mu napraviš, daš mu pivo.
Even after all this time.
Koga, konja napiješ pivo? Sa granem, kad u vojsku pođeš, kad u vojsku pođeš.
I need more time.
onda znači 6. Zamisli.
How can I be of aid?
It is. I've collected these over time. What do you think? Oh, I like this one. I will treasure it. May it fill your heart. Goodbye.
Dobro. Šta vi?
High velocity rounds pierce
Ma
through
čekaj, jel on
enemies and deal
šaču
bonus
kum
damage to
ili
monsters
pero?
with broken armor. Look out for this symbol that indicates an enemy's armor is broken. High velocity.
Da. 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 A brat moj rođeni je moj. Zamisli to, čuš. Da.
Don't want to start a fight.
Mission projectom.
Zamisli to, Ivo. Pa brat rođeni, Ivo. Kako bi se kojim drugim, jel? Da. Zdav. Zamisli to, Ivo. Da. A znaš ti tačno i koji je to orbašanin crna taj? E. Da. Da, da.
Mhm.
Da. E. Pakao je. A i on je lud, brate, šta više ide kod njega koji kurac. Pa jes.
Šta kažu Figo i Boka? To sve. Jone, šta kažu Figo i Boka? Nema se. To nije u redu.
A jazz.
What have we got?
Zna se ja dan i dana ko je on i šta je stil, već. Čita se ja njega dan i dana, već. Ma sve mu je dosta skuplje.
You have a keen eye.
Već.
Podigli su 13 optužnica zbog nasmešnicu.
Će li biti streljanje javno?
A sad će neka žrtvena jad da nađu u SN. To oni radi. Koji ne zna.
Pa da.
Tako je.
A ja i ne odem, ja odem ili kod Miloša na pumpu,
ne zna,
ili odem ovamo u Iđoš na pumpu kad mi treba sjelicu.
Oj, matko, kukulele, rajko.
Na pumpu to svuda ima, da kažeš. Mislim i na pumpu je skuplja, ali... Pa nisam ja, koliko se sećam, tu... Možda 253, a tu je negdje, to je to, da kažeš.
A jesmo. To zna ja.
Ominous, but it might hold the runes I seek. I need more time.
Yes, there is story. Da. Da.
They still defend their land, even after all this time.
Zamisli.
Je li govornik drži ovaj govor, Kesić? Aha, dobro. Ok, kad završi javim.
Da.
How can I?
Ne znam.
Yes? Finn makes fun of my collection. I think it's charming. Another for my collection. Thank you.
Dobro.
I will treasure it.
Da.
I will treasure it.
Ocelot's instructions for Big Boss to switch roles with Venom's former self during MGS5 strongly implies that the two could have been doing the same thing again. Easily explaining how both Grey Fox and Venom Snake were not together at the time, but switched identities. Since Grey Fox is stronger than other suspects of doom.
I need more time.
Keep in mind that theories are just theories, and what we've seen in this video is just one possibility where the story could have been next. We're not saying that this is definitely how things will be turning out, or how they should turn out. That's of course up to the writer. But seeing that a number of fans have a very long idea of the plausibility of our Grey Fox theory, we made this video as an explanation for a better understanding, and to show everyone that our Grey Fox theory always was and still is very much possible for later, being backed up by timeline detail one can ever find, to the contrary of what some might have thought. And the truth is, as things stand, the current MGS5 storyline leaves more plot holes and timeline inconsistencies than our Grey Fox theory ever did. And as you can see, not only does this theory still stand over 9 years later, but it also answers every question brought up by MGS5's body double twist.
It is good
Apart
to
from
see
the
you.
timeline
I've
discrepancies
collected
we
these over
already
time.
mentioned
Another
with
for
regards
my
to Grey
collection.
Fox's history,
Thank you.
MGS5 raised yet another crucial timeline conflict, this time with the heir of death of Dr. Clark herself, the only Patriot whose death we haven't witnessed, with her murder said to have been caused by Grey Fox 2 years before the Shadow Moses incident,
but it
as part
might
of
hold
Ivan
the
Ocelot's
runes
plan
I
to
seek.
eliminate the last of the original Patriots.
We used Frank Yeager.
The ending timeline in the campaign shows these events as being held in the year 2005, during the same year of the Shadow Moses incident, when we know that in MGS1, Naomi tells us that Dr. Clark had been killed 2 years before that time, which would make it the year 2003.
My predecessor, Dr. Clark, was in charge.
Dr. Clark?
Yes. He started the gene therapy project.
And where is he now?
He was killed in an explosion in his lab 2 years ago.
This is also backed up by Grey Fox being subjected to Clark's experiments for 4 long years, and we know Yeager's body was retrieved from Zanzibar in 1999, which all leads to the year 2003.
Frank Yeager's entire body was reconstructed through surgery, and he was reborn as the cyborg ninja.
They fitted him with a prototype exoskeleton and kept him drugged for 4 years while they experimented on him like a plaything.
The death of Clark at the hands of Grey Fox is further emphasized in the Master Book from the recent Master Collection Volume 1, which mentions Grey Fox being ordered by Eva and Ocelot to kill Dr. Clark in order to free Big Boss. And while the exact details of her death remain unknown, Dr. Clark being killed in 2003 has always been the canonical answer, with the Master Book further confirming that Grey Fox goes to Shadow Moses 2 years after killing Clark and escaping her lab.
A koji je gazdel, dolazi taj tamo u centar.
Minor errors in MGS5's ending timeline had already been fixed with game updates following release, so if this truly was a genuine mistake, it could have easily been fixed in all these years since release. But no. Clark's year of death remains inconsistent this very day. In 2016, we had also tweeted to Metal Gear's community manager at the time, who replied that he could check with the writers of the game, but the team wasn't looking to share additional information about that character back then, which pretty much means that the Metal Gear team had been working on Dr. Clark behind the scenes. It's also worth pointing out that MGS5 even explains the reason why Naomi addresses Clark as a man in MGS1, with Huey revealing that Dr. Clark became so secretive that people had no information about this doctor whatsoever, neither his age, his origin, his real name, and not even his gender.
You've really never heard of him?
I don't meet many doctors.
This Dr. Clark is a complete ghost, even to others in
to je
his
neki
field.
jadove.
His age, where he comes from, that might not be his real name. And I can't even say for sure he's a he.
Sure, Naomi could have lied about Dr. Clark's death, just as she did in previous cases. But why is this relevant in the Phantom Pain? Why would they change this detail 17 years after MGS1?
Dr. Clark.
He was killed in an explosion in his lab 2 years ago.
The fact that MGS5 made changes to this part of the canon for no apparent reason all those years later further hinted the involvement of Gray Fox in the overall storyline, since of course, he's the one who ended Dr. Clark's life. And the reason we mention Clark's death as a crucial timeline error is because Dr. Clark is a pretty crucial character in the Metal Gear franchise, who apart from being one of the original members of the Patriots, was also the very same doctor who conducted the Les Enfants Terribles project. She was even responsible for placing Big Boss in an artificially induced coma following the events of Zanzibar, as well as fitting Gray Fox with an exoskeleton, while keeping him drugged and experimented on for 4 years as part of her gene therapy experiments. Narratively, Gray Fox being Venom Snake would also bring multiple story arcs to full circle, such as Eli unknowingly taking revenge on the Phantom Big Boss, whom he thought was his father.
Killed our father with your own hands! You stole the chance for revenge!
If Gray Fox is truly Venom Snake, then Liquid would have taken his revenge against the same man he hated in the Phantom Pain, without him even knowing, crushing Gray Fox to death in Shadow Moses.
Never draw a weapon on a fellow soldier. You got that? He prayed for death, and it found him. You can't protect anyone, not even yourself. But it might hold. Die!
Snake, do you remember the sinking of that tanker 2 years ago? Of course.
It would also complete the Patriots' repetition motif, with Raiten's history of being a child soldier, then forced into becoming a new Snake, and transforming into a cyborg. Very much like how Gray Fox was also a child soldier, and would eventually be transformed into a cyborg. The last piece of that puzzle, Fox also being a new Snake, before being ultimately turned into a cyborg.
This is why we chose you. You accepted the fiction we provided, obeyed our orders, and did everything you were told to.
Return as Big Boss.
The exercise is a resounding success.
All they can do is repeat the same pattern over and over again.
All this depends on how the writers plan to conclude their story, and if it ever comes to a full circle or not. It's not up to us, but to the writers involved in the next project. Having said that, in terms of the canonical lore behind our Gray Fox theory, it's important to know that all of the timeline details we talked about are coming straight from the lore of the franchise. You're very free to play the games and confirm these details for yourselves. And while we're well aware that Kojima stated that there might be some minor retcons in MGS5, if Gray Fox is not Venom Snake, all the timeline errors we talked about in this video would be major retcons that could easily jeopardize the entire canon, as well as the established histories of numerous characters. Fox's rescue following the end of the Vietnam War, not adding up with the Ground Zeroes incident, could either be a major retcon for both Big Boss and Gray Fox's backgrounds, or a clear indication that there could be more than meets the eye behind the Ground Zeroes incident, which, by the evident discrepancy we found with Miller's dialogue, remains pretty questionable, unless they also messed up Peace Walker's main plot twist in MGS5.
I knew who they really were all along.
I can't believe we ever bought that cover story.
Evidence of forgery with Venom's passport raises suspicions on his true identity, or of the coma itself. Venom was still in a coma in the year 1978, so how could his passport have such a traveling stamp? And if the stamp had been falsified, what can we trust from that passport?
He was always the best man we had.
And while facts do not exist, and there's only interpretations, the ending we, the players, experienced casts even more suspicions on Venom's identity, with Venom's former self being shown as Caucasian, even if players create their avatar in a dark skin tone. And this all happens before surgery, in the truth mission, strongly implying that Venom's true identity is in fact a Caucasian character. MGS5's ending shows us Big Boss is about to change his face and identity with Venom's former self, a man said to be his best soldier, who happens to have a right white eye, and who is also seen in a very similar hand pose, with the one performed by Gray Fox, a character long known to have been Big Boss's most trusted lieutenant, and the best soldier of Foxhound, who, in an amazing coincidence, also struggled with identity issues, and is also seen with right white eye all the way back in MGS1.
Well, I don't believe in coincidences. Something funny's going on.
And even if certain details from the ending are not being interpreted correctly by Venom, the plan suggested in the ending still explains how Big Boss could have switched identity to his best and most trusted soldier, who could easily become Gray Fox. If Venom Snake truly dies in Outer Heaven, and the real Big Boss is never around, as we're being led to believe, then who rescued the remaining survivors from the bombings? Or is this major plot point also being retconned from the history of Big Boss, along with the histories of these survivors, such as the children of Outer Heaven, and the Resistance fighters, including the leader of the Resistance, Kyle Schneider, who sided with Big Boss in Zanzibar after he was rescued by him in Outer Heaven, even telling Solid Snake that one day he'd realize what a wonderful man Big Boss truly was, and in the end, he really did.
They'll never understand what you really wanted. Heroes are misunderstood. It takes a man of the same caliber to understand what drives them.
Who is that?
And if fans believe Gray Fox's story is still not of relevance in all this, then MGS5 would also be majorly retconning the death of Dr. Clark, who has been the culprit behind most of the suffering and scientific projects that the Metal Gear franchise was built upon.
You're fine. You got all the old man's dominant genes. I got the flawed recession gene.
And if they also retcon this character for no valid reason, they'd pretty much be jeopardizing the entire lore of the franchise. If fans believe the team will go ahead with retconning all these plot points, since they're considered being part of the older canon, then they can pretty much retcon anything at this point. And this is why our Gray Fox theory was created in the first place. Not because we're huge fans of the character, like many people thought, and just wanted him to be the protagonist without any logical sense whatsoever. Of course not. But because the Gray Fox theory was always built on what makes sense when it comes to the Metal Gear canon, not whether this theory is likable or not. Sure, Fox is a fan favorite. Who wouldn't be a fan of a badass cyborg ninja? But we've always preferred Solid Snake when it comes to a favorite character. And if you still don't think our theory is at least possible, with all the evidential lore we pointed out, then we hate to break it to you, but the Metal Gear timeline might just be headed into a canonical mess that would pretty much need rebooting, which is the last thing longtime fans would want. And if they do go ahead with these major retcons, then our Gray Fox theory shouldn't really be at fault now, should it?
Not really.
Though for all those who thought we might not have known this series well enough to actually talk about our theories, you can very well see that we know this franchise inside out. We've been die-hard Metal Gear fans for over 30 years, long enough to know if, when, and how the timeline doesn't add up when it comes to the long-established canon, which is why our Gray Fox theory came into play, and why it cannot really be debunked, except by the continuation of MGS5, which we're very looking forward to seeing, just as we look forward to the release of the Phantom Pain.
I've prepared a ruse of sorts. I've made another snake.
With our theories, we're not trying to say this is something that will surely happen, or hit jackpot by trying to be proven right. We're just having fun talking about some interesting ideas from a storytelling perspective, whilst we present them in a cinematic format for your enjoyment, in anticipation for the return of our favorite franchise.
He'll take your place.
All we ever did was give fans hope that neither Venom nor us have seen the bigger picture yet.
I'm sure you'll see the bigger picture eventually.
And that everything will eventually fall into place in the third part of the game, which Kojima himself even teased years ago.
And he sort of said, hey, there are going to be sort of, 3 parts to this, game.
Who is that third character that we're seeing from his perspective at the beginning? Is that a new character or someone that we know from the Metal Gear universe?
this brings us to the end of one of our longest and most thought-provoking MGS5 analysis in a very long time, and we believe this video comes as evidence of the incredible depth and complexity that revolves around the Metal Gear storyline, especially with some of the deeper subjects that were introduced in MGS5. And while it sure felt great to re-experience the nostalgic days of the Phantom Pain, we really hope you found this video interesting, and that you perhaps learned something new from the lore of the franchise. If you'd like us to explain in more detail certain subjects featured in this video, feel free to leave us a comment, and we'll be happy to get back to you. Having said that, what are your thoughts on our Grey Fox theory? Do you believe Venom Snake's true identity will one day be revealed to be Grey Fox? And if not, what do you think of the franchise's canon being retconned in such a major way? Whatever your thoughts and opinions happen to be, we'd love to read them in the comment section down below. We hope you enjoyed this video, and for all things Metal Gear, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to our channel. We'll be sure to return the favor with content you won't find anywhere else. Thank you all for watching. It's been a great journey. Until we meet again, Snake, farewell. Python and Selkin, out.
No.
Ivđo,
Da.
u pola jedan prije sažu, a?
Može.
Reče Ivana, po 5000 dobijate u kovertu svi.
Pa dobro, mogu dat, ako hoćeš,
Taman,
svejedno
to
sam
ćemo.
teo, pa za poklone.
Ne.
Nego za
Slušaj.
šta?
Kakve poklone, bre, svi smo mi vezi.
Jingle bell, jingle.
Zekare kupuju neki prsten, 20.000.
Dobre, nebitno, to nije moj.
What have we got? What would you like?
Dorine. Ameno.
That will be useful.
A gdje smo ovo?
Gdje smo?
Marcellets.
Kako
Welcome to my channel. Cheap viewers on stream.com remove the space YQJXBQ.
Thanks for that.
Ominous, but it might hold the runes I seek.
Nije. Ađe, bir. nekakvu simišnicu s njima. Kao nadev. Ja. Da.
This guy, this was nuts. He was getting like real life
I
threats
see the
for
honors.
trying to call out botting in WoW.
I received one this very morning from a Discord in Taiwan, as well as a Discord in Russia. Texts about wanting to kill me, wanting to cut off my fingers and feed my hands to my family and stuff, family members and stuff like this. Very descriptive death threats.
Like a
We're
hot
not
dog?
talking about getting killed in World of Warcraft. We are talking about getting killed in real life.
He's decided not to do it. But because a lot of people watched the video and were very supportive, he's actually decided to change his mind, and now he's going all in. And so he made an entire video exposing the botting mafia of WoW, $3 million a month.
Yo, what up, boys? So, it has been a couple of days since I uploaded my presumably last video. And at the time, I wasn't lying. Because I had the worst 2 days of my life. It sounds like I'm overreacting. And I can understand why you guys would think that, because you don't have access to all of the information.
Yeah.
Well, today, I'm going to bring you that information. And I'm going to tell you something that 99% of the community is not aware of, including Blizzard. We have to start from the beginning. Throughout the
I would believe that. I bet Blizzard has no idea.
period of time we have created videos, I've received these threats either in-game, through YouTube, through Discord, or through my WhatsApp. But none of those threats faced me, because I know, as well as you guys know, that those are just empty threats.
Sure.
In fact, it wasn't any of the threats that I received. It was the threat that I didn't receive that scared the living shit out of me. All of this was brought to my attention by a guy working within the industry himself. This Swedish guy is running 6 bots on the EU servers. He's
Okay.
running 5 of them on hardcore and 1 on Era. This guy reached out to me in-game and said, I want to show you something that will make you really angry. I accepted his call on Discord and he started streaming his Discord back to me.
Yes.
He was extremely nice, he was very well spoken, and he explained to me that he's making almost $2,000 from running these 6 bots every single month.
That's pretty good.
He's paying about $100 for subscriptions and then a little bit more for the electricity, and he's running everything locally on his machines. This means he has 2 computers, one which he's gaming on himself, and then one standing next to him with a secondary monitor where he can monitor all of his 6 bots.
If I didn't have a job and I didn't have money, I would be doing it. Guaranteed I'd be doing this 100%.
He found my videos very hilarious because he said he would never fall for it personally. He will never die to the methods that I'm using because he's actually able to manually take over control of the bots immediately if he sees something fishy goes on his other screen.
Yeah, sure.
Now this nice Swedish guy, he didn't reach out to me because he wanted to show me his own setup. This guy reached out to me because he wanted to show me the Taiwan botting mafia setup. He explained to me that these guys are not only botting in World of Warcraft. These guys are botting in Path of Exile, Diablo 3, Diablo 4, Last Epoch, New World, Pokemon Go, some Star Wars game that I haven't heard of, and
Fucking base. Obviously they're gonna do this. If you're living in Taiwan and you're making shit for money, why wouldn't you do this?
Why?
Duh. It's common sense. Of course.
a bunch of other games. We want to focus on World of Warcraft because that's our game of choice and that's really what we have interest in.
It's big money.
He explained to me that this botting mafia is not running 4 bots or 6 bots. They are running 12,000.
Smart.
12,000 bots. If you can wrap your head around that this Swedish guy is making about $2,000 after paying some...
I don't see this as being crazy. Like, I this is not astonishing to me at all, because, like, okay, so if you're making $1,000 for every $100 you spend, wouldn't you want to spend the most amount of money so you can multiply it by 10 as many times as possible? I mean, that's just me, right? So obviously they're going to do this. And so the way that botters work is that they bot the game until market saturation, and then they end up stopping at a certain point, or they actually, like, it'll fall off, right? Because, like, at a certain point, like, if you're selling, let's say you're making sales of 4 million gold a day, right? And you're selling 4 million gold a day, and that's pretty much the market cap. So if you're farming 5 million gold a day or 7 million gold a day, well, you're only selling 4. So you're effectively wasting this money, and you're cannibalizing your own profits, because now you're effectively competing against yourself. So the best thing to do is to min-max it into that market saturation point.
Oh.
Like, I know a lot about this for a number of different reasons. But yeah, of course, it makes sense. Jesus, isn't he afraid of jail? Why would that? What is it? You think they're gonna go to Taiwan and put some guy in jail for body and path of exile? What are you thinking? Of course not. But it's like bragging about being a drug dealer? Well, no, because these people are, like, if you're a drug dealer and you're in Mexico, maybe, well, yeah, sure, like, or like, I don't know if Mexico, what their laws are, but like if you're in a South American country maybe where there's, like, not a lot of laws, then yeah, sure, why not? Because you're not going to get in trouble. Will PoE2 end up like this? Of course. Yeah,
subscription and electricity bill, you can only imagine how much money these guys are printing. And that's in World of Warcraft alone. You have to understand they're running this in 10 other games as well.
Right, of course.
He also explained to me that these guys are not only running their bots locally. That means they are using warehouses, but they also utilize the cloud. If they are botting in Europe or if they are botting in America, they are using the cloud in that specific data center, so the bot is actually running within Europe region. That means
duh.
That they don't get fucked over by the ping. This also explains why most of the hunters that we saw, at least in the beginning of my crusade, they all had Chinese names. So the bot actually looks like it's from Europe. If Blizzard were to check the IP address and where it's connected from, it's most likely in a data center somewhere located in Europe.
Yeah, they're using like some sort of like VPN or remote desktop. I mean, this is very low-level stuff. I mean, people could have, like, you could figure this out when you're 15 years old, really. I mean, none of this is any sort of like high-tech hackerman content, right? I mean, this isn't crazy at all. Botting or cheating in video games is not a criminal offense in 90% of the countries around the world. Yeah, I would say probably more than that.
Take your time.
How do you combat bots? Well, we can talk about that at the end.
But the bot is being operated all the way from Taiwan. Now, this is not rocket science. You can probably figure this out. If you thought about it long enough, you would probably come to the same conclusion.
Yeah, high schoolers can figure this out. Like me. All of my friends were botting in WoW, all of the time. I had a friend of mine, I'm just gonna say
I will treasure it.
I had a friend of mine, his name was Tyler. And he had a character, and it was a warrior, and his name was Neymar. Big fan of football. He was in Hellfire Ramparts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop. And it was so bad that I finally decided to message Tyler. I'm like, bro, is this a bug? Like, he's like, no. No, it's not a bug. It's working just fine. Everything's totally fine. Nothing ever happened to him. Never. Working as intended, yes. And you could make so much money doing this. It's insane how much money you can make doing this.
However, what I'm going to tell you now blew my fucking mind, and I have goosebumps just talking about this. This botting mafia is splitting their bots up to one pack of 1,000 bots. This basically means they have 12 times 1,000 bots. They have a private developed software, private developed botting software, and they are making 12 different versions of this software. That means they are not identical. They mutate it and modify it in such a way that it looks like 12 different versions.
Of course. Obviously they would do this. Because this means that they can't reverse engineer the coding and then apply it to the other botnets. Duh. Of course. Like, sure. Like, wouldn't you do this? Yeah, you can't mass ban. Well, you can, but it's like it's only this effective. It's segmenting risk. Yeah, exactly.
Whenever Blizzard's Warden system detects a botting software, it's removing them within a ban wave. This means every 4 to 6 months, maybe 1,000, which is only 1 out of the 12 packs that the botting mafia is running, is getting banned.
And also this allows them to A/B test what the differences are, because they know what the differences are between the coding software. So if they have 12 versions and one version gets caught, they can isolate the variables that caused that version to get caught. And then change
this
it.
explains why we as the community, when
and
we
then
see
if they
there's
do that enough times, they can also conversely reverse
True,
engineer the entire process that Blizzard has at finding the bots themselves. Because, for example, if they found that, like, I'm just putting out a theoretical here, but like if they found that every single botting thing that, like, you know, in the last 2 years that they've caught us on has been click to move, okay, well then maybe it's the way that Blizzard tracks clicking.
ban wave, Blizzard comes out and they say, oh, we banned 33,000 bots. They're like clapping in their hands and we're like, oh great, now I can go farm again. And then you go to the location that you want to farm, and the same 6 bots that you've seen there 8 times, they're still there. They're still there, and you're like, wait, didn't they just say that they had a ban wave? Why are these guys still here? That's the explanation.
Blizzard actually tried hard. No, Blizzard, the reason why Blizzard has this happen is because they don't care. They don't have anybody actively looking at this stuff, and the way that they handle this is always retroactive. Sorry, yes, retroactively. They never handle it proactively. They don't care.
These guys, when the Warden detects a botting software, it only removes that particular botting software. But the 11,000 other bots, they are still running.
Of course.
And here's another crazy part. The botting mafia knows this, that every 4 to 6 months, a ban wave rolls out. This basically means that they have already prepared 1,000 new accounts and also a brand new version, a new mutation of the previous software. And those...
Of course they would do this. Yeah, yeah, duh. Sure.
Same bots that just got banned, the
Dobio
new
sam
ones are up and running that very same day, if not the day after.
Random.
This is fucking insane to me. This basically means that out of their
Скажите
entire
sam
operation,
Exalted
every time there's a ban
Ja
wave,
dobit ću strength,
they are
dexterity, bilo
only
šta,
getting
dobio
hit
sam
by
45 spirit,
10% of their wow bucks.
opušten.
10%. Now remember what I told you earlier. These guys are not just running bots in World of Warcraft, but in 10 other games.
Of course.
That means whenever Blizzard rolls out a ban wave, actually only...
Because that's what they have to do.
A znaš šta sam radio? Imaš kao zlatni talisman. Zlatni talisman ti daje 20% bolje stvari.
So you have to go into new
Kako?
Golden talisman, to ti ide kao šarm, ono, ide na pojas.
The operation is being affected by that ban wave. And the very next day, it's back up and running. This is fucking incredible. And it basically...
And what happens is that because they're able to make them... This is the reason why botting exists. It's actually extremely simple. It's because you can make more money than it will cost to make the account. That's the reason. So if you think about it, there's an equilibrium point where the amount of money that you've invested into the account is the same amount of money that you can get from selling the account or selling the actions of the account. So if you can ban them before that equilibrium point, you stop botting. If you can't, you have botting. It's that simple.
Explains that Blizzard are doing something. I am not the one to say that they're not doing enough. But what we are observing, whenever we see a ban wave and we see the same bots running around right after the ban wave, and we're like, what the fuck? Why are these guys still here?
They don't
I
care.
thought they banned them. That's the explanation. Blizzard are banning someone, but they are only hitting one part of the software.
They're putting in the minimum effort required, and they're getting the minimum result. They're not paying GMs to actively look into this proactively. All they're doing is they're using some sort of tech program to collect 1,000 bots and then ban them and say, oh wow, we did this.
11 other mutations of that software is still up and running. Now let's get to you guys' favorite part. I'm terrible with math, so it's not my favorite part, so I will probably get something wrong. But
Jesi stigao vamo do Akte 2 da rešimo Chaos Dungeon
If 6 bots is able to make 2,000.
Yeah, and so the only way to stop this from happening realistically is
Jesi stigao do Akte 2 da rešimo Chaos Dungeon.
spora igra, rekao sam ti.
A ti to na terane jeboj.
And that would make it stop, but is it worth giving up your identity and your anonymity on the internet so you don't have WoW bots? Well, for a lot of people, they don't think so. Yeah, this is the big money situation, is when you get a lot of the bots running, and then you can have... It's kind of like botting and like making these botnets is like, it's like your own MMO. Like you're playing the game of not playing the game.
Dollars. That's the information that we got from the Swedish guy. Then one bot is able to make a little more than 300.
Yeah.
If you watch my videos, you know that I like to downplay things. I want to make sure that we are on the right side of things.
Sure.
So let's say that we remove 20 to 30%, and one bot is actually only making 250.
Sure.
That way we know the bare minimum of what they're able to produce. Then we take that number, we times it with 12,000. That's $3 million. $3 million. And that's only from the World of Warcraft bots alone.
I need to start
Remember,
botting.
they're botting in many other games as well. Now, of course, there's some operation costs here.
Yeah, I
there's
gotta start
maintenance of
doing
machinery, there's subscriptions to World of Warcraft, there's
They should make it
subscription...
illegal to sell bots and hacks? What do you mean they should make it illegal? Like, that's just silly. Oh yeah, let's make it illegal. Okay. Well, then they're just gonna do it somewhere where it's not illegal.
To the cloud service that they are running when they are running bots in the cloud, either in Europe or in North America. So let's just remove 1 million, just to be on the good side of things here. That is still a $2 million profit from running bots in World of Warcraft alone.
That's a lot of money.
Wrap your head around that for a second.
$2 million a month.
Now you have a rough
That's
idea
pretty
of
good.
how much money these guys are making. And that's why I got fucking scared. Because if they are making $2 million just running World of Warcraft bots, ordering a hitman to fuck me up would be equivalent for them to purchase a sneakers. That's how much money they're making. And the first thing that I thought about whenever I was thinking about a botting mafia and
I would be surprised if they would do that and entangle themselves in something that could cause them risk. Because at the end of the day, like, this guy is like a mosquito. Like, if he gets 30 of their bots banned a day, the amount of money that that's costing them is like nothing. And also, like, if somebody has something bad happen to them in real life, what a lot of these people are scared of more than anything is the actual authorities and law enforcement. But they know law enforcement is not going to dedicate time to going after them for cheating in a video game. But if somebody gets hurt or something like that, then you can have actual extradition, you can have investigations. That's when the FBI gets involved. Like, they do not want to do that. Like, that is their, like, I don't think that they would ever do that. It's crossing the line. Well, it's putting, like, at the end of the day, many of the people that do this are probably doing it because they want to make money. They don't care. Like, they probably agree with him that it's bad. Like, the botters are probably people that have played the game. They probably love the game in a lot of cases. But they're like, well, yeah, this is just my job. Power. So, like, all they want to do is make money.
Compared to something else, I was thinking about a truck, for example.
Yeah.
So, this is a crazy thought. Just bear with me for a second. If you're producing coke all the way up in Eastern Plaguelands...
But if you think about, again, I think this is a good parallel. It's been very stated many times. Drug cartels do not want to bump American citizens. They don't want to have anything to do with that. They don't want to deal with the American gangs like the fucking CIA and the FBI.
Samo malo ga
They
trči.
don't. Yeah, so they're gonna do their best to avoid that because even if they come out ahead, the cost of that is so high. It's a huge risk.
And you want to sling that shit all the way down in Tenaris. Let's say it costs $10 for a gram up here and $80 down here. The reason it costs $80 down here is because you have to transfer it all the way through Western Plaguelands, into Hinterlands, Arathi, Wetlands, go to Loch Madan, go to Dun Marok, Searing Gorge, Burning Steps, get to Stormwind, and then you maybe sail it from Stormwind all the way to Steamweedle Port. Crossing all of these borders, there's a lot of risk involved. The police wants to fuck you up. You're also dealing with very dangerous people doing these logistic and distribution things that there's money involved. All of the middlemen alongside this road, they want to get some money. The guy who's fucking selling it from Stormwind to Steamwood Portal, he wants something as well.
Yeah.
That's why it sells for $80 down here. You have a very big chance of getting into jail for 10 years. You have a chance of dying doing this. Like, there's a lot of risk involved. Why would you ever risk running a drug cartel when you can just run 12,000 bots in a video game and no one will ever give you shit? The police can never get involved in this. Blizzard is the police. Blizzard is doing a good work. I can see
the police could get involved in this. The police could get involved with this, but it would take something that is like astronomically huge. And also, the last time that Blizzard got involved with it, it was in Germany. And like, there's like not as much of a cultural difference between like Germany and the U.S. versus like probably Taiwan.
It is good to see you.
And so yeah, with Honor Buddy, right? I think that's also another big issue. Is like trying to do something to a person in Russia is not the same as trying to do something to a person in the UK.
Emails that I'm receiving, they are banning people, but they are not on top of it. It's not like they're as I had the understanding in the beginning of World of Warcraft, when I started playing it back when I was a kid, people were getting banned for almost nothing. You could say a slur to somebody and you would get a communication ban. So
oh yeah, no, there was a person in my old server, this wasn't on KT, whose name was the N-word. Like not N-word, but the actual one.
Yes, ladno jutro sjebate život.
One of us will not leave this manor alive.
It was like a different eye, right? It was like the slanted eye.
They were on top of things.
Ninja?
But
Yeah.
It has gotten loose now. I suppose the botting operation is just getting better. But think about it for a second. Why would you do all that risk of logistics, of selling drugs and transferring drugs, if the same people, the same type of person can start a botting operation instead?
They make more money with drugs. That's the reason why. Yeah, they make way more money with drugs.
I believe that's why they call it the mafia. Because it's the same type of person. They just changed what they're selling, and they change how they acquire it. That's why I got scared. Whenever I saw my information being leaked in there, it was not a death threat that I received, as I said. It was the one that I didn't receive. And these guys are printing money. That's why I got scared. I can understand it from the botter's perspective. I understand it from Blizzard's perspective.
Wait, why does he pan to me and say understand it from the botter's perspective? I never botted. I never did this. All my friends did. I never did this.
And I understand it, of course, from my own perspective.
What the hell?
I don't want to be a part of it because I don't want to die. The botters don't want to stop because they're printing money. And Blizzard don't want to stop it.
First ones, hear our laments. Sanity recedes ever further into the dark. Shadows hover above us, in the corners, watching and waiting.
What madness is this?
I need more time. nothing sacred anymore.
Of course they want to stop it, but they don't want to stop it that much because they are also getting money. And also, we do not understand the difficulty of removing bots. We see it from a player's perspective. I use 16 hours per day in this game. That's why I see the bots. But if the guys that are responsible for removing the bots are not the ones that are actually playing the game, they don't see how large a problem this really is, because they don't experience it in the game. I believe it's important that the people that should remove the bots are also the people that actually plays the game. Now,
it's good. You have like deputies where like everybody can report together. You like you know, make a citizen's arrest. It's like somebody is like botting and like, you know, 5 people get around them and all report them, and they'll have like a fucking lasso and you can like drag them to the, I don't know, to like some area and like then have them investigated by Blizzard. I like that. Sounds good. Yeah, like deputies. Yeah, it's good.
Now, Asmongold has a great point. I
Şurada
want to
var
show this
masa.
because he actually
Of course I
put
do.
some light onto this.
Threaten to kill someone just because your business isn't working anymore? Well, of course you do. Yeah. So like if you have somebody that's hurting your business and you can kill them and then have the business work, well then why wouldn't you want to kill them? Right. Of course. Yeah. Duh. That's why they do it. That's why they're threatening him. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Fucking obviously. Yeah, I think that they're willing to threaten. Very unlikely that they'd be willing to do anything for the reasons that I said. But yeah, of course they would threaten to do that.
So exactly as you point here, remember this is taken out of context. Asmongold is on our side. So don't take this out of context. I understand why I'm getting threats. I really do. And I understand if I said this in one of my very early videos, if I would receive a ban from Blizzard, I would understand it as well. Because in terms of conduct, they say that you cannot grief other players on hardcore. I don't qualify as being real players, because to me, World of Warcraft is all about killing NPCs. A bot is an NPC. I'm just killing an NPC within a game, to my defense. But I understand if you dig into the terms of use or code of conduct of World of Warcraft, I'm griefing. So I understand why Blizzard would ban me. I understand why the botters are interested in killing me, because I see the amount of money that they make, and I'm interfering with this. And of course I can understand it from my own perspective.
You can never interfere with it in a way that's tangible to Blizzard or to the botters. If they have 12,000 bots running and you kill 6 of their bots a day, they are not going to risk an international investigation to get rid of you unless they are very stupid. You just think about it from their perspective. Why would they do that? Now, at a certain point, maybe somebody could be that problematic, but it seems extremely unlikely. The only person and the only entity that can solve this problem is Blizzard itself. No other entity can solve this problem at all. Like, I guess maybe the government could if they required real ID, but other than that, no. That's it.
Why I would withdraw myself from this situation, because I don't want to fucking die. And these guys that are getting death threats, they have security. I don't have, I can't afford security. They have, like, if you take an A-list celebrity, like one of these musicians or a movie star, they have like a 4-meter fence around their compound.
The security is find a way to kill them. Like, unless it's like a president or a head of state, it's easier for them. People always let their guard down. Yeah, it's common.
Do I look like a guy who has fence
look
money?
at Luigi.
I can't afford that shit.
Yeah.
But what actually got me to upload another video was this thing coming up right here.
In 2019 and 2020, Classic WoW release, I made a lot of gold making content, gold farming content, investment content, and bot hunting content. I hunted down the bots like pretty much on a weekly basis and made content of it. I received threats as well. I received a couple of threats in real life, in A4 paper, pen and paper threats, in my mailbox outside.
That's cute.
One of them was slipped under my door. I'm still here. Nothing has happened. I took it to the authorities. Nothing has happened. After that, probably somebody just like sent a mail. I can send a mail right now from here to like Belgium.
He talks about continue on talking about this situation of him receiving threats. And it has gotten even closer to this guy because they were at his door. They were slipping a paper underneath his
He's overblowing the death threat concern in a major way, in my opinion. I don't think that... I think it's very easy to say that when you're not in that position, and it's easy for me to rationalize and explain why it's statistically unlikely or logically inconsistent to do it. But when a person has that happen to them, they're not operating under the same logical facilities that they would be in a normal situation. And also, you don't necessarily know that's true. Like, me saying that's true and saying the odds are that this is the case, if I'm wrong, it doesn't really affect me at all. So, like, it's easy for me to talk about the statistical probability because I don't have any skin in the game. It's not really a risk for me, but for them it is. So, you see kind of what my point is there? It's like, yeah, obviously you can say that to somebody, but they're not going to believe it because it's happening to them.
Yep. Or he received death threats in his mail, meaning that his information, he has also been doxxed. His information is out there as well. I realized apparently it's not difficult to just gain anyone's information nowadays. The crazy thing is that these botters, they had my old email. Yeah. When I went to elementary school, the mail that I was using back then to create my Skype, my MSN, and my WoW account, as well as some other things, they had that email. I had forgot that email even existed.
Ljudi, ja sam otišao da ručam, zdravlje, prijatno. Off to work, but lunch first. What can